what are your views on energy, and explain to us how you think energy works?
Language is a very challenging thing, because when I say energy, it means something to someone else. If I say spirituality, it means something to something else. In the ancient writings, when they would talk about a divine energy or divine presence, they would also have a disclaimer. They said, this energy is God, and he is undescribable and intangible and never will be understood. And so that's a big disclaimer to this power that has been written about for thousands and thousands, or whether you want to call it God. Energy is a neutralizing term because there's so many connotations to that word. Somewhere in the Gospels, they say, they define that there are multiple gods, but the practice of following the God of love is a way of defining that energy. And you go even further, what does that mean? That love is the energy of connecting. And all the writings talk about connection. The divine connection is a unity of all things. When we take it back into medicine and we look at health from a physical standpoint, when the body is flowing in a complete unity, it's healthy.
Yeah.
When you take it between people emotionally, and they're together in a union and in harmony, there's love and peace. When you take it in terms of a presence of energy of contemplation to whatever divine presence there is just a potential for more love, for more unity. And all pain is disconnection, and all healing is connection. So the energy is what we use as a term of how things kind of flow between them.
Yeah, you mentioned something about the portal of energy. Can you give us a little more insight?
Oh boy.
On that?
Yeah. So this, you think about the Big Bang. Everybody kind of thinks about, well, there's a Big Bang, and there was this explosion of energy everywhere else. And there was an evolution that took place. And even in the holy writings in the book of Genesis, it talks about a beginning, that there was a darkness, and then there was a light. Let there be light. And the sequence that's written out in those books matches the sequence of evolution in the Big Bang Theory. Mm-hmm. So how did they know that? We don't understand that.
They don't explain that part.
They don't know it, right?
They leave that up for...
But that there was some inner force field that began to move everything. Now, very young in my life, when I were studying, like we all do, astrology and the planets. So we have a sun, and the planets. And so what is this? How is this? What's this energy that these planets are rotating around? How is that? We say it's gravitational pull in physics. When you look at the electrons and the nucleus, it mimics the solar system. And so the electrons are also swirling around, and I think it's like here's the who. It gets smaller and smaller, but this space and this energy is what's holding everything together. When we look at dark matter, which is much larger than matter, it's holding us up in some way. So what is this energy between us?
Why can't we see it?
Why can't we see it, and how do we tap into it, right? How do we tap into it? How do we align ourselves? And what are the portals? The portals are opening into a field of energy that allows us to heal, right? Yeah. To be one with. Yeah. Now here's the interesting thing about, let's say, the Hindus and the chakra energies, the portals. In the writings, they said there are all these energy clusters. There's always more than 44, but we think about 7 or 6 of them. And they outline them. This is long before Jung or Freud was around. They outline them in a hierarchical structure, from a survival chakra to a sensual chakra to a power chakra to a heart chakra, a wisdom chakra, an ether chakra. But they're all developmental, and when they're all open, we call that pure health. When we're stuck in one, then we call that our karmic energy. We need to resolve. Karmic meaning that we're bringing something in here that's not resolved. But they wrote that thousands of years ago before psychology came around, talking about developmental limits, but it mimics the same thing.
Yeah. Different writings.
Different writings, same concept. We haven't evolved that far, and it's always a mystery in poetry to hear the different languages used for thousands and thousands of years to explain science today.